Spring is in full bloom, bringing with it warmer weather, of course, beautiful flowers, and for many, the misery of seasonal allergies. If you are sneezing, wheezing, rubbing, itchy eyes, of course, you're not alone. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports that about 1 in 4 adults, nearly 1 in 5 children, suffer from seasonal allergies. But how can you breathe more easily this season? We're joined by Dr. Catherine Monteleone, a professor and director of immunology and allergy, I should say, at Rutgers Robert Wood Johnson Medical School. Dr. Monteleone, thank you for coming on this morning. This is your busy season, I'm sure.
It is. Good morning.
Well, what can we expect this year? You said that spring pollen season could be average so far, but could it still bring some tough days? And what factors should we be watching for as the season progresses?
I think there's no longer anything as a good allergy season. Global warming has really increased the amount of pollen that plants put out and increased the growing season. So people have tough times during every allergy season, and every allergy season can have bad days where the pollen counts are just tremendously high and people have to lock themselves in the house because they have such symptoms when they go outside.
Should people just prophylactically, at this time of year, if they're sensitive, should they just prophylactically take a daily antihistamine through the season or use one of the nasal sprays that, not the over-the-counter stuff, but the prescription nasal sprays that desensitize their noses?
That's actually good advice. If you know you're going to have symptoms, it's better to start early rather than trying to play catch up once the symptoms are really terrible for you.
Because I know, I mean, I suffer from horrible seasonal allergies, and I use I use Flonase every day. That's what I've been using, and I've noticed that even you could hear me right now. I actually lowered my mic while you were talking because of what I've been getting on and off. We could do an on-air diagnosis. Um, and that this year has been extraordinary for me. And of course, I moved into a more wooded area, so I'm sure that had lots to do with it. How do different allergens affect us? Because I know, right, it depends on where you are and what's blooming around you.
Well, remember, tree pollen, which is this time of year, can fly for miles. So you can be in the middle of Manhattan and be affected by them. But certainly there are some pollens that are heavier and just drop to the ground much more locally. So it depends on the weight of the pollen and how windy the day is, how far it's going to fly. But basically, you can't escape it. New Jersey, we have a lot of wooded areas, and if you are allergic, it's going to find you. And trees are
And
what
usually,
are out this time of year.
or I'm sorry to step on you, doctor. Usually, on a day like this where it's a little damp or rainy or foggy, that's usually a good thing, right? Because it kind of keeps the pollen at bay. But I'm still feeling it today in spite of it. It's not as bad as the other day when it was breezy and dry, but it's amazing. Again, I think it's more where I live because I'm surrounded by woods in very rural New Jersey. But I'm definitely feeling it this year. I had gone to an allergist in the past who told me something that I found fascinating, and maybe you could explain it better from the way I interpreted it. The allergist told me that sometimes you're not like I said to him, "Oh, my brother's allergic to carrots," and he said, "Well, it doesn't always mean that he's actually allergic to carrots. It could only happen. It may only happen seasonally when birch trees are pollinating." What is that about? I'm confused about the connection between certain pollens and maybe an allergy to something.
It's called the oral allergy or pollen food syndrome. And it is the fact that when you're allergic to something, it's the protein in the pollen, protein in the food. When you're allergic to a food, like a peanut allergy that can kill you, it's one kind of protein. When
Mhm.
you're allergic to something that interacts or cross reacts with birch pollen, it's a different protein. So that protein breaks down with heat and with stomach acid. So what you will feel in that case is just upper GI symptoms. It is itchy mouth, itchy lips, sometimes itchy throat. And then when it hits the stomach acid, it breaks up. So you're not going to die from it, but you're going to be uncomfortable. And it could be walnuts, it could be carrots, it could be other fruits. Stone fruits very commonly cause those kind of symptoms and cross react with birch. But you can have melons that cross react with ragweed. It's quite the array of pollen and foods that can cross react in that way.
Amazing. And how do you know, for instance, if you're getting rhinitis, what, how do you know if it's an allergy or if it's a virus?
Sometimes that takes time to figure out because it happens every year, so you know that's what it is. But usually, if it's more itchy, runny, clear nasal discharge, your eyes are affected, that's more an allergy. If it's thicker discharge and fatigue, and you have more congestion than runny, sneezy, it might be more cold. And it's the duration of symptoms. Colds go away 7 to 10 days. Allergies do not, they can last the entire season.
And how do you know when you may need an allergy shot? At what point do you need them?
Well, allergy shots aren't going to help you during the season. Allergy shots are a buildup of giving you what you're allergic to. So the kinds of trees you're allergic to or the grass you're allergic to has to be put in the shot, and that is a buildup to become tolerant. And that takes time to get built up to the maintenance level that will help you. So usually we want to start that before the allergy season so you're at a good enough dose during allergy season. And it's a 3 to 5 year course. People don't realize that. You want to stay on it 3 to 5 years because then you have a better chance of getting long term relief when you stop the shots.
And if you have any doubt, you have severe I have severe allergies. I have anaphylaxis to tomatillos of all things. I used to think people with food allergies, they're overreacting. Yeah. One drop of a salsa at a Mexican restaurant 10 years ago, Doc. Luckily, there was an emergency room right across the street. I blew up like a balloon for 3 days, and that shut me up. It was like God's telling me, don't make fun. I'll teach you. So it is a serious thing. Food allergies are the real deal. So if you know of somebody in your kid's school who has a peanut allergy, there's a reason why they're telling you no peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Don't whine about it. It's to save a kid's life. Very real thing. Dr. Catherine Monteleone, thank you. Please come back again. Professor and Director of Allergy and Immunology at Rutgers Robert Wood Johnson Medical School. It was a pleasure having you on today. I know this is your busy
Thank you.
season,
Very nice
so
to
we
meet you.
appreciate it. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Doctor. Likewise. You bet.